This skill would have automatically locked onto the surrounding enemies. If there were multiple people, they would have dispersed. But now there was only one enemy, Qinfeng. So all these purple-black lightning snakes locked onto Qinfeng and flew towards him quickly. These lightning bolts have a corruption affix attached. As long as all hits, your corruption gauge will be full and all your buff states will be invalid. The mechanical cube knew that Qinfeng had a state of enhanced upper level affixes through comparison, that is, through Shadow Warp. The upper level affixes obtained were doubled, as long as Qinfeng's buff state was broken. It would not be so dangerous. After all, it has a skill that can clear 35% of the upper level gauge after release, and the cooldown time of this skill is 3 seconds. In other words, as long as Qinfeng does not add more than 11.67% of the instant death gauge per second, it will not die because the instant death gauge is full. Of course, with the ability Qinfeng has shown now, he still can't kill it, so it is still relatively relieved. At this time, under the gray sky, more than 100 purple-black electric snakes attacked Qinfeng in just half a second. Even with a shield to avoid damage, even with super high dodge, the corruption scale contained in these electric snakes can be superimposed on Qinfeng. However, just when the mechanical cube was expecting Qinfeng to be corrupted and lose all the buffs, Qinfeng suddenly released a skill, Big Mouth. The skill from the Bloodline Soul Eater made a blood-red bloody mouth appear in front of Qinfeng. And the most shocking thing is, Qinfeng released this skill while turning around quickly. This made the blood-red Big Mouth rotate directly 360 degrees, completely swallowing all the purple-black electric snakes around it. Originally, this skill could only be effective in one direction when released, but after having the bloodline of the Deathwing Angel, Qinfeng can move and turn while releasing skills. So it becomes 360 degrees to absorb all projectile attack. Eat it. Eat it all. The mechanical cube was confused again. Happy. It felt that Qinfeng was becoming more and more interesting. But next, let's see how you deal with it. The mechanical cube laughed out an electric tremor again. In the next moment, it suddenly entered the next stage, Mechanical Fury. Countless lightning bolts surged out from the inside of the dark cube. Here it comes. Qinfeng saw it and his eyes suddenly lit up. This is what he was waiting for. When the mechanical cube is stacked to 33% of the instant death scale, or the blood volume is less than 2/3, it will enter a mechanical fury state that lasts for 3 minutes. This state can only be entered once in a battle. After entering this state, the mechanical cube will reduce the skill cooldown time by 80%. But this is selective. Either reduce the cooldown time of all output skills, or reduce the cooldown time of all defense skills. If the mechanical cube chooses to defend, then it can clear 35% of the instant death gauge every 6 seconds, and Qinfeng has no chance of killing it. Fortunately, Sanfeng has a trick up his sleeve. Causing the boss to misjudge the stacking speed of his instant death gauge, the mechanical cube directly chooses to reduce the cooling time of the output skill by 80%. It's a pity that its current state is a stage effect, which is essentially a boss mechanism. And the boss mechanism is a power at the rule level. It's not a simple gain state. Otherwise, it would be great to be able to steal it with the Shadow Blade, Qinfeng thought with a bit of pity. Next, he will face the boss's violent offensive. Qinfeng certainly won't naively blame the boss for being untrustworthy. Could it be that he still expects someone to punish the boss? All Qinfeng can do is to withstand the boss's offensive and kill the boss. As the mechanical cube entered the mechanical frenzy state, a purple-black electric grid was formed within a radius of 100 meters around it. At this time, and several other hiding places around the Evil Spirit Academy, about a few kilometers away, there were still many players observing this side. Official strongmen, including Wang Yuweiyu, were extremely worried when they saw the purple-black lightning bursting all over the sky. However, Qinfeng, who was in the center of the storm, did not move at all. The violent purple-black lightning enveloped him, causing him to suffer more than 10 times of lightning element damage per second. In addition, in the mechanical frenzy stage, the mechanical cube kept releasing purple-black lightning snakes. Hundreds of purple-black lightning snakes flew out. Now, Qinfeng had known the skill of Big Mouth can swallow those projectiles. But the reason why Qinfeng released the Big Mouth just now was just to let the mechanical cube choose the output of Mechanical Rage. Now he has really entered the stage of killing the boss in seconds. For all the attacks of the boss, Qinfeng completely ignored it. The Thief's Hand. Take it. In an instant, Qinfeng flapped his wings and flew in front of the boss. Qinfeng just stretched out his hand and stole 20% of its attributes. At this moment, Qinfeng's agility attribute soared from more than 5,000 to more than 8,000. The biggest change brought to him by the surge in agility is that the speed of throwing Shadow Blades has increased from 6 times per second to 9 to 10 times per second. Just as the number above the boss's head changed 72239, 29, 47, 53. Qinfeng quickly calculated the coordinates. Then he and the Shadow clones shadow folded together and flew to their respective coordinates. Shadow Blade L106. At this moment, the instant death meter on the mechanical cube skyrocketed at a speed nearly twice as fast. This scared the mechanical cube. It quickly released skills, and a series of purple-black electric currents flowed through the dark cube body, clearing 35% of the instant death meter. But just 3 seconds later, it was continuously thrown with Shadow Blades by Qinfeng. The instant death meter on its body was stacked up by 60% again. Fast. Too fast. The properties of the mechanical cube were stolen by 20%, making Qinfeng faster, and the instant death meter was stacked up to explode. The boss was confused. What a surprise. This assassin is simply a treasure. Record all this information. At the same time, endless purple-black lightning bombarded Qinfeng's body. Crackling. Zila Zila. Qinfeng was completely enveloped by lightning, and suffered hundreds of lightning damages per second, even with a shield and a high dodge rate. Qinfeng still suffered several times of damage per second. After all, the hit correction of the boss was not low. Of course, all these lightning damages were transferred to Osiris and the Grey Chicken below by his work, Hartmann's Deflection Gauntlet. Oh my god, it really came? This electricity is so cool, but why is the damage so low? Is it tickling us? Several purple-black electric lights flashed on Osiris and the Grey Chicken every second, but almost no damage was caused, although the parts that were continuously electrocuted became a little charred and a little embarrassed. But the damage is too low. Can the damage really be transferred? But Helga Vassinger has such high damage, why haven't they died yet? The mechanical cube observed Osiris and the Grey Chicken on the ground not far away, and was soon shocked. Its damage can only tickle these two pets. This is unscientific. And it certainly doesn't know. This is because Qinfeng just found time to go online, found a lightning fairy, spent some life, and got an effect that reduces the damage of lightning elements by 99%. A sure kill. A tug of war began. Qinfeng and his shadow clone attacked the mechanical cube frantically. The mechanical cube also attacked Qinfeng frantically. Since the skills of the shadow clone were released together with Qinfeng himself, Qinfeng could not use the invincible method in the Temple of Death. If he slowed himself down and added Shadow Warp, he himself could be invincible. But during the release of Shadow Warp, he could not release Shadow Blade. Then the shadow clone would not release Shadow Blade alone. This resulted in him being invincible, but he could not attack the boss. That invincible method can only be used when it is purely to save life. Now, Qinfeng relied on the 99% lightning element damage reduction he just got from the lightning fairy to resist the boss damage. The elemental penetration of this boss is about 70%, but I seek Sister Yuan's baptism every day. After Shadow Warp doubled the elemental resistance, my lightning resistance has reached 125. Even if it is penetrated by 70%, there are still more than 37 Zapsun. The final lightning element damage reduction is 97, or 1%, counting the independent damage reduction attribute, plus the 99% lightning element damage reduction given by Sister Yuan. If Qinfeng is attacked by lightning elements now, the damage he receives is only 7,000 to 8,000 of the basic damage. The basic damage of a single attack of this mechanical Rubik's Cube is at most 200,000 to 300,000. The last one that hit Qinfeng, the single damage is only 30-40 point. If this damage is transferred to Osiris and Grey Chicken, isn't that just a tickle? In addition, Qinfeng also gave these two guys the Abyss Withering Curse. Let them beat each other underneath. The blackened parts of their bodies were restored at a speed visible to the naked eye. This scene completely shocked the mechanical cube. It had activated the mechanical frenzy. It released all kinds of lightning skills without regard for life. The result was actually like doing useless work. And what it expected, to make Qinfeng fall into the corrupted state and invalidate all his buffs, did not happen. Because Qinfeng knew that this mechanical cube had only one corrupted affix, all the upper resistances had long been transferred to corruption resistance, with the effect of the blessing of the lightning fairy. Even after experiencing such a violent attack, Qinfeng's corruption meter finally remained at around 67% and could not rise any further. The immortal level upper source skill allowed Qinfeng to clear 15% of the upper meter per second, completely resisted. All this was completely within Qinfeng's calculations. The mechanical cube discovered it seemed to be calculated. But it knew clearly that the biggest reason why it fell into such a situation was this human seemed to know all its skills. Happy. The mechanical cube laughed out loud. It released a skill every 3 seconds to clear 35% of the instant death meter. Unfortunately, Qinfeng can now add about 20% of the instant death meter every second, which is 60% in 3 seconds, so it has no time to clear it. And when its instant death meter reaches 80%, it enters the final stage. This stage requires extremely high mobility of the player, because before this stage, the boss cannot move once it enters the battle. But after this stage, it can move and turn around. The biggest problem this brings is the spatial coordinate system centered on it is changing every moment. The player must keep up with its moving trajectory to ensure that his relative position with the boss remains unchanged, so as to continue to cause damage to the boss. Come on. The most exciting moment is here. The mechanical cube's mechanical voice trembled and laughed, and it began to rise in an S shape. However, it was speechless. Qinfeng and his shadow clones also began to rise in an S-shaped path and snake-like, perfectly maintaining their relative positions with it. One after another, the Shadow Blades concentrated their attacks on the boss from 6 coordinates, making the instant death energy on its body more and more concentrated. 6-6. The mechanical cube was shocked, and only had time to shout out such a number before the instant death energy on its body finally accumulated to fullness. Sizzle. The instant death energy was stacked up to 100% in its body, causing it to shatter and crack instantly. As the mechanical cube collapsed, the surrounding purple-black lightning dissipated, and the sky turned into a gray scene again. However, the killing prompt of this boss did not come out, because this mechanical cube has an order effect. When it is destroyed, it can enter self-repair. This order effect has a 1-hour cooldown. When Qinfeng flew to the broken black magic cube, he saw more than a dozen electronic eyes looking at him in unison. Interesting. So interesting. Helga Vasinger is very happy. Happy? Then I'll make you happy to death. You're welcome, Hanfeng said with a smile. The mechanical Rubik's Cube hadn't reacted yet, and Qinfeng was holding a dagger and slashing it across its broken body. Its self-repair order effect came to an abrupt end. This is divine armor. It immediately realized that its order effect was suppressed by Qinfeng's divine armor and could not take effect. Great. Fun. Really fun. I'm really happy now. Assassin Shadow. Look forward to seeing you again. Goodbye. 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 After just 3 seconds, the mechanical cube was unable to repair itself and instantly shattered into pieces, exploding into a sky of black, broken metal parts. This time, data collection. Uploading. Civilization. Blue Star Civilization. Killer. Assassin player. Shadow Elf 30, real name. Unknown. Abilities as follows. Accompanied by a series of short electric current sounds, followed by a system prompt, which sounded in the minds of all players around the world. Player Shadow Daxia killed the legendary boss, Mechanical Cube Helge Vasinger, and gained 200 reputation points. East China Sea. Deep in the ocean. Originally, the 6 invisible players in Florida were extremely excited when they saw the violent thunder and lightning above the Evil Spirit Academy in the distance, but only more than 10 seconds later, when the system prompt that Qinfeng killed the boss sounded in their mind, they widened their eyes one by one. At this moment, they all seemed to have turned into sand sculptures. After several seconds, holy shit, the cube was killed by him. It's over. North America is over. Woo woo woo. Go! Go! He will take revenge on us. Fortunately, there is a teleportation stone. At this stage, some top players can pass the basic challenge of the high-level Divine Power Tower. Items such as teleportation stones also began to slowly appear in the hands of other people. However, just when these 6 Florida players hurriedly took out the teleportation stone and wanted to use it, they were shocked to find, around them, many powerful people from Daxia had appeared and surrounded them. A random range skill was thrown over, so that they all entered the combat state and could not use the teleportation stone. I surrender. Don't kill me. I will tell you everything. I have the ability to scan and can help you scout. The 6 guys immediately raised their hands, one more honest than the other, and knelt down very quickly. At the same time, Great Summer Ice City, Great Cold Country, Florida State in North America, all the enemies involved in this plan felt a chill in their hearts. The plan failed again. Most people around the world did not have any deep feelings when they heard this system prompt. The only emotion they could express was to admire Shadow again. More than 99% of the people in the world did not know what happened. Only the officials of Florida and North America and a small group of people in Daehan country knew about it. Now, this small group of people are all as uncomfortable as eating a fly. They know. When the mechanical Rubik's Cube can't do anything to Shadow, then the reckoning from Daxia will come soon. Daxia, Ice City. When the prompt that the mechanical Rubik's Cube was killed sounded in everyone's mind, all the officials in Ice City were excited and excited. Shadow. My god. Shadow is a bunker. It turns out that the real target of the Great Cold in North America is Shadow. Oh my god. Another legendary boss. And we suffered heavy losses because of an epic bot? Fortunately, with the recording sent by Shadow, the fisherman really didn't attack us. Not only that, he took the initiative to find the 6 guys from the Great Cold. Shadow is so awesome. What language is that in the recording he gave us? I feel a little confused when I hear it. The boss was even more scared. Thanks to Shadow, our Ice City was saved. Now the fisherman doesn't dare to attack us at all, but still be careful. After all, we are not communicating with it. In Ice City, the situation has stabilized. It mainly depends on the ancient god language recording sent by Qinfeng. Originally, many players in Ice City thought that Shadow was joking. How could such a terrifying epic boss, the fisherman, become friendly just because of a recording? Unexpectedly, when the recording was played next to the boss was stunned immediately, and the bloody mouth under the straw hat closed directly, and then left silently. When it appeared again, it actually used a fishing rod to string up 6 players from the Great Cold Country who sneaked into the Ice City. This scene brought an unimaginable mental shock to all the official players in Ice City who were dealing with this matter. Too amazing. Is this the stone particle of Shadow? Originally, in such a distant Ice City, almost no one was a fan of Shadow. They knew that Shadow was very strong, but what does that have to do with them? Until now, they realized how lucky it was for everyone in Daxia to have a Shadow. And then, it was the global reminder that Qinfeng killed the legendary Mechanical Cube. At this moment, the admiration of Qinfeng by everyone in Ice City reached its peak. They all knew that North America and the Great Cold Country joined forces, this time to get rid of Shadow. Their Ice City was just affected and was used to lure Shadow offline. When Shadow went offline, the legendary Mechanical Cube would be deployed to kill Shadow. However, such a crisis was easily resolved by Shadow. But does Shadow really not plan to come? The Magic City is too far away from our Ice City, so it's normal that he doesn't plan to come. That's right. It's because we don't have a teleportation array. Didn't Lao Zheng and the others pass the challenge of the high-level Tower of Divine Power? Let them build the teleportation array. The teleportation array requires a lot of materials, and it can't be built in a short time. Alas, it's a pity that more than 40 of us died. Although the boss was scared away, we didn't dare to chase him. Fortunately, the fishermen left the 6 Great Cold Country ones to us. For a while, everyone was a little depressed. They were extremely envious of the fact that Shadow had such a powerful strength. If Shadow was in Ice City, what chance would the boss have to escape? But soon, the official here got the news. Shadow said that he was arranging one of his puppet subordinates to come over and help us kill the boss. His puppet. That seems a bit too outrageous. Right. It's an epic boss anyway, so why send a puppet? For a moment, the official people in Ice City were a little surprised, but there was no way. Shadow had helped them drive the boss away, and they couldn't ask Shadow to come over in person. Just hope that the boss won't be angered again. Everyone prayed in their hearts. At this time, King Feng was in front of the pile of broken black metal fragments. He used the Hand of Greed twice in succession, and got a great harvest. Nearly 24,000 evolution points. More than 30,000 years of tradable lifespan. In addition, there is also a mythical assassin equipment and a mythical assassin skill book. Xin Feng first looked at the equipment. Ascension Machine Mythical. Assassin Armor. Physical Defense plus 960. All element resistance by 80. Damage reduction plus 47. 2%. All attributes before 100. Required level 30. Special. Upper threshold plus 15. And an additional 37% reduction in the accumulation speed of the upper affix scale. Detail. Special. Inviolability plus 20. Unique special effect. Self-repair. When you die, you will automatically resurrect. Fixed cooldown of 1 hour note. Only effective once in reality. Mechanical Myth. A perfect work from the intelligent machine race. Flesh and blood are weak. Mechanical Ascension. Hein Feng took a look and shouted, "Spring Brother is here." It can actually be resurrected. Hein Feng's heartbeat accelerated. This mechanical Rubik's Cube really didn't disappoint. Alas, you're leaving now. But you still left me such a good gift. Hein Feng smiled and changed his clothes. However, the leather armor he changed out of was the Contract of Roslav. The effect of this leather armor is to replace the inviolable effects effect with blocks all negative effects. If he changed into the Ascension Machine, Hein Feng's inviolable effects would not be able to resist non-control negative effects. It seems that I still have to go to the Abyss Road and get some stones with peeling special effects. Hein Feng decided to go there in a while. The special effects of the Roslav contract must be peeled off to this Ascension Machine. After putting on this armor, Hein Feng's lower body was shrouded in black smoke, while his upper body was covered with pure black metal. The armor was shining with metal, and there were streamlined metal pattern lines on his chest, back, and arms. Physical defense. Higher elemental resistance. Higher damage reduction. The original legendary leather armor only increased physical fitness, but this Ascension Machine also increased all attributes by 400 points, which is equivalent to my strength. Agility and spirit increased by another 400 points. In this way, without using the Snatching Hand to steal attributes, Hein Feng's strength, agility, and spirit attributes can all break through the 6,000 mark. In addition, this new mythical leather armor also comes with the attributes of upper threshold and upper scale, stacking slowed down by 37%. Hein Feng did a quick calculation. If he continues to endure the bombardment of the mechanical cube just now, the corruption scale on his body can only be stacked to about 45% at most, instead of the 67% just now. Take a look at the skill book again. Hein Feng took out the mythical skill book, Fatal Game Mythic, Assassin Skill. Weakness attack multiplier plus 2, 5 gag. And the superordinate affixes stacked by hitting the weakness increase by 30%. But if the target's weakness is not hit, the attack cannot cause damage and superordinate affixes cannot be stacked. This is a mythic passive skill book. It has positive effects, but also serious negative effects. After learning, if you don't want its effect, you can set the skill to invalid. But for Hein Feng, there is no need to worry at all. Miss the weakness. Hein Feng now has more than 10 times the weakness correction, so it is impossible to miss the weakness. So, for Hein Feng, this skill is equivalent to a pure improvement. Adding 5 times the weakness attack multiplier is equivalent to my basic weakness attack multiplier of 4 times, and then doubling it with the gift of liberation. It is 8 times. Compared to the original 3 times, Hein Feng's final damage has more than doubled. In addition, if all the blades of 1000 blades hit the target, you can temporarily stack a 2x weakness multiplier. The final damage is 10 times. Besides, my speed of stacking the upper scale has also increased by 30%. Killing. Easier. Hein Feng's mouth curled up slightly. He opened the skill panel and looked at his attributes. Now he had nearly 30,000 evolution points left. You consumed 1,000 evolution points, and there are 189 points left. Bah. Fatal Game Mythical Arrive Ancient. Weakness attack multiplier plus 2. Effects arrive 3. And the upper affixes stacked by hitting the weakness increase by 30% arrive 40%. However, if the target's weakness is not hit, the attack cannot cause damage and the upper affixes cannot be stacked. Bah. Ancient Effect. The damage you receive from the weakness is reduced by 90%. When this ancient effect came out, Qinfeng was a little stunned. Reduce the damage received from weak points by 90%. Good guy. The damage is lower when you hit my weak points. Qinfeng can only say awesome. To evolve to the immortal level, 20,000 evolution points are needed. Hanfeng thought about it and did not evolve this skill for the time being. Instead, he chose a skill before evolution. You have consumed 20,000 evolution points, and there are 189 points left. Bye. Blessing of the Thunder Fairy, Ancient Arrive Immortal. Gain the passive effects of Thunder of Shelter, Thunder of Destruction, Holy Thunder, and Overload Thunder. With no level requirement. Thunder of Shelter. You are immune to all control effects of thunder elements, and the accumulation speed of the upper affix scale is reduced by 75%, Arrive 87. 5%. Banben. Thunder of Destruction. All your attacks add 75%, Arrive 100% thunder element damage. Bet. Holy Thunder. You gain 1 Arrive 3 layers of damage shield per second. Up to 12 Arrive 36 layers. Butha. Overload Thunder new. Every time you use a skill, you gain 100% cooldown speed and 10% skill release speed. Up to 10 layers. After this skill evolves, Ainfeng has a stronger resistance to higher level affixes, and the immortal level has gained a new effect. Fuck. When I fight, won't I throw 10 Shadow Blades per second and directly stack up the overload? 1000% cooldown speed. 100% skill release speed. Originally, Qinfeng's basic cooldown speed was only more than 500%. Once the overload is fully stacked, it will be more than 1500% for 1000 Blade Break. The original cooldown time was 3 seconds. Now it takes less than 5 seconds. The superposition of the release speed is equally terrifying. Originally, after Qinfeng stole the attribute and maxed out the state, he could use Shadow Blade 10 times per second, but now he can use Shadow Blade nearly 20 times per second. Maxed out. Really maxed out. Compared to the previous submachine guns and machine gun, Qinfeng's Shadow Blade is much more powerful. Faster firing rate. More powerful. It can also eject infinitely within a distance. Qinfeng doubted that if this continued to evolve, could his Shadow Blade kill the Great Cold Country, the Sakura Country, etc. In addition to the mythical assassin skill book Fatal Game, Qinfeng also obtained 2 sublimation scrolls. You can add 2 orders to your equipment. Fuck. The source of mana is out. Qinfeng was shocked when he saw one of the sublimation scrolls. This is a weapon sublimation scroll, and the order effect added is all skills do not need to consume mana, and the more mana the skills originally consume, the higher the damage increase, up to 100%. At this time, Qinfeng wished that all his skills consumed mana. However, the assassin in the God-Forsaken game has no blue bar. There is no way this sublimation scroll can only be sold cheaply to others. No one can afford this thing in the current blue star. Qinfeng felt a little pity, or rent it. After the sublimation scroll is added to order, it can also be returned to the sublimation scroll using a precious special material, sublimation pen. But the value of the sublimation pen itself is very high. Even if it is rented, it is not very convenient to operate. I will ask the official later, and ask the official to help find out if there is any news about the skeleton ruins. Qinfeng has learned about the tomb ruins of the skeleton god through the Eye of Knowledge, and some regional terrains that will appear, but he himself does not have so much time to go out and look for it. Mainly, this kind of tomb ruins may be mobile, then the possibility of Qinfeng alone finding it is very small. I can only rely on the official. Qinfeng is still looking forward to the tomb ruins of the skeleton god. He obtained the Eye of Judgment from the tomb of the ancient god of judgment. So will there be other super gains in the tomb of the god of bone? It would be great if I could get another ancient god authority. Qinfeng laughed when he thought of this. That probability is too low. As for the scroll, it can add an order effect to the necklace. Sniper Invalidation. The effect is that attacks launched from 100 meters away are invalid to the self, and will not be superimposed with superordinate affixes. Forget this order. Let's put it away first. The main distance limit is too far. If attacks from 10 meters away are invalid, then this order will be very useful. But if it is 100 meters, it will not be very useful at the current level. Currently, Qinfeng is around level 30, and the attack distance of both the boss and the player is within 100 meters. But this order will be very useful in the later stage, because at level 40 or 50, it is common for the skill release distance to exceed 100 meters. Even warrior players will have many long-range attack methods. Very soon, Qinfeng chatted with Wanye Weiyu and asked her to spread the news so that the official people could pay attention to the surrounding environment when leveling up and find the area that might be the tomb of the god of skeletons. In addition, he also told her about the sublimation scroll of the source of mana. Qinfeng directly offered a temptation. Whoever can find the tomb of the god of skeletons can consider selling or renting this sublimation scroll to them. This shocked Wanye Weiyu. It can make all skills not consume mana, and the more mana the skills consume, the higher the damage. This is definitely a magical weapon that any mage dreams of. Great God! Wanye Weiyu smiled bitterly. If you use this thing as a temptation, I'm afraid many people don't want to level up by killing monsters at all, and they will go out to find things for you all day. Qinfeng smiled and didn't reply. Isn't this the effect you want? Qinfeng knew it very well. If there were no substantial benefits, the official people would not take it too seriously even if it was related to him. They would probably just pay a little attention. they would not look for it seriously at all. But with the reward content, the situation would be different. You can imagine it. Soon, many official players in the major game areas in Daxia would start looking for the remains of the tomb of the God of Bones. The terrain where the remains appeared was first a mountain area, and then at a relatively long distance. There would be some large human bones placed in a kneeling posture. The most important thing is that these human bones are buried in the soil. Then it would not be so easy to find them. And the search method of looking down from the sky was ruled out first. It was precisely because the environment was so harsh that Qin Feng had to ask the official for help. If he relied on himself alone, he couldn't find it even after searching for 10 days or half a month. Besides, how could Qin Feng have so much free time to search specifically? After the communication, Qin Feng planned to go to the Abyss Road. As he had more and more mythical equipment, he really needed to get some stripping stones to strip off the special effects of the original equipment. To go to the road to the Abyss, the player must be teleported to a place called the Abyss Gate through the teleportation array after reaching level 30. Qin Feng greeted Osiris and Grey Chicken and was about to return to the game. Wanya Weiyu's private chat suddenly lit up again and sent a voice message. By the way, Master, there is news from Ice City that the epic fishing boss escaped back to the godforsaken game through the cracks. What should we do now? In North America and the Great Coal Country, how should we deal with them this time? Escape back to the godforsaken game, Qin Feng asked. After it returned to the game, what area was it in? The ruins of Ice City. Wanya Weiyu? No. According to our spies, it returned to the ruins of Fushan in the Great Cold Country. But according to the rules we have obtained, the boss has been in reality and will be located in reality. Next time, as long as it passes through the crack, it will still appear outside the Ice City. Qin Feng knows this. For monsters, coming to reality once is equivalent to having an anchor point. Just like players, no matter where you go in the game, the next time you come to reality, you will appear at the place where you entered the game last time. Okay, I'll take care of the boss, and I'll definitely kill it, Qin Feng said. In addition, the Great Cold Country is also handed over to me. You just need to deal with North America and ask them to compensate a few billion lifespans. As for the official planners of Florida in this incident, I will give you the list and ask North America to hand them over. By the way, I almost forgot. There is also a guild called Roseflower. At this point, Qin Feng paused. He didn't think about how to deal with this guild for the time being. However, Wanya Weiyu immediately said seriously, regarding the situation of their guild, Little Wildcat. I have communicated with the Sky Guild here, and the situation is already known. We will deal with it seriously and give you a result soon. Okay, then I'll leave it to you. Qin Feng was too lazy to deal with it, and his hands were a little dirty. If the authorities intervene, this guild will not have a good ending soon. Qin Feng came online. He did not go to the Abyss Road for the time being, but waited for Tin Jixing to make the potion. That way he would be fully prepared and could achieve the best results in this process. Qin Feng first found the place to swipe monsters and level up, and the Abyss puppet he sent out turned into a black shadow and descended on Ice City. In the turbulent area outside Ice City, it was originally a county town. But because this area has become a turbulent area, all the people in the county town have been evacuated. Only a group of buildings destroyed by monsters are left, dilapidated and desolate, and some monsters run around from time to time. On the top of one of the collapsed department stores, there is an elliptical crack. The fishing boss, wearing a straw hat, returned to the godforsaken game from this crack. The strongest reconnaissance team of the Ice City official, a total of 11 people, are all observing not far away. Suddenly I saw a black figure fell from the sky and landed in front of the oval crack. Is that Shadow's puppet? Wow, so handsome. Okay, stop being crazy. It's just a puppet. But the boss has already run away. This puppet can't just sit here and wait for it to come, right? I don't know. It's said that Shadow will solve this matter, and I don't know how he will solve it. They were a little confused and a little nervous. What if the boss suddenly rushed out of the crack? Come on. Can the puppet stop it? Just at this time, North America was busy and exhausted because of the mechanical Rubik's Cube. Daxia seriously asked him to compensate a few billion lifespans. On the Dahan side, the core members of the ALK group and several official personnel have gathered in a conference hall in a hideout. There are a total of 12 people here who worked with North America to formulate this attack plan and were the culprits who sent the epic fishing boss to Ice City. The latest news is that Daxia has proposed a compensation plan to North America. Ashiba, it's been half an hour. Why hasn't Daxia come to us? Do you think Daxia and Shadow will let us go? You are too naive. Representative Park, do you think they are waiting for us to contact them? In short, Shadow looks like a person who is greedy for life. We will compensate him with some life and that will be the end of it. That's right. Can he dare to come to our Dahan country to make trouble? It's really a mess. We will fight him. If we can't kill Shadow, can we kill other people in Daxia? We have to kill tens of millions of Daxia people. That's what they said. But in fact, all 12 people were sweating profusely, especially Representative Park of Elk Group. This middle-aged man seemed very calm, but in fact his hands were shaking. You know, Alk Group is a first-class consortium in Dahan country. This Pew representative is over 50 years old. He has always been able to call the shots in Dahan country and enjoy a first-class life, but now that he has provoked Dahan, especially Shadow, he is sweating profusely. Suddenly, the 12 people sitting in the top floor of Dahan country in the conference hall were all stunned, because they saw From the ceiling at the top of the hall, there were suddenly a series of light blue beams shining on each of their heads. The beams of light looked a bit like the moonlight in the past. Beautiful, clear, but they are inside a building, and the sun and the moon have disappeared for so long. Where does the moonlight come from? Instantly, before the 12 people could react, the 12 moonlights suddenly turned into knives. Puff, puff, puff. Instantly, the 12 killed, cutting all the 12 people in half just after they died silently. A noble lady in a moon-white robe slowly walked out from the moonlight and glanced at the bodies indifferently. This noble lady was the Moon Queen Virginie, who had just been sent out of the Judgment Land by Qin Feng. And when those 12 people died, the defensive barrier where they were hiding did not suffer any attack. Even the guards outside the conference hall did not notice anything unusual. This is Virginie's terrifying method, Moonlight Shuttle. As long as the moonlight can shine, she can shuttle there at any time. And the death of these 12 people is just the beginning. Qin Feng's order to Virginie is to dominate this country, godforsaken continent, in the Great Cold Country area, outside the ruins of Fushan. In a charred forest, a team of 6 players from the Great Cold Country was desperately running away. Ah, bastard! How did this thing come back again? Run! Run! Wait for me. Wait for me. See me. Puff. Before the slowest female player could finish her words, a fishing rod suddenly swung out from behind, and a sharp hook pierced through her chest. 2. 5 a weak point attack. A single attack from an epic boss is not something that players at this stage can resist in an instant. The Great Cold Country female player wearing a priest robe widened her eyes, and before she died, she desperately stretched out her hand to catch her boyfriend, who was running in front of her. But her boyfriend ignored her at all and even ran faster. The female player widened her eyes and died very unwillingly. It's over. It's over. I'm going to die completely. My non-tradable lifespan has long been lost. This was her only thought before she died. She knew that once she died at the hands of this boss, she would probably not be able to be resurrected, because all her tradable lifespan would be fused with her body and made into fish bait. The bodies and remaining lifespans of players who died under the fishing rod would be fused together and made into something similar to a lifespan light ball, but not a lifespan light ball. This is the fish bait. Once someone tries to get close and absorb the fish bait, the fishing hook will fly out of the bait and attack the approaching player. This is the epic boss that appeared outside the ruins of Dahan Guofu Mountain, Fishing Man Alamuda. All the tradable lifespans of players killed by this boss will be absorbed and made into bait. If the remaining non-tradable lifespan is insufficient, it means death. As for why this boss is named Fishman instead of Fisherman, because this boss is a fish-headed man. When the female priest of the Great Cold Country died, a hunched humanoid monster wearing a straw hat appeared behind her body. The monster held a fishing rod in his hand and walked forward with his head down. When he came to the body of the female priest, he finally raised his head slightly. Under the straw hat on his head, there was a fish head. This is a fish-headed man boss, so it is not a fisherman, but a fisherman. It was this guy who had previously cooperated with the ALK Group Guild and was sent to the ice city of Great Xia. As a result, because of Qin Feng's recording of the ancient divine language, he fled back to the ruins of Fushan in the Great Cold Country. It is still the Great Cold Country that makes a fish warm. The Great Xia country is so scary. There are actually people who understand the ancient divine language. Brother Fishhead is still in shock. In the eyes of the players of the Great Cold Country, this is an extremely terrifying epic boss. It has only appeared for 2 or 3 days, but it has already frightened all the players of the Great Cold Country in Fushan. So far, most players don't have much untradable life left, so when they encounter this kind of boss that absorbs life, once they die, they are completely dead. How can people not be afraid? Of course, not long ago, the LK Group Guild said that there was a way to deal with this boss, which was supported by many players. As a result, they really led this fisherman boss away. People don't know where the ALK Group Guild led this boss, but it did not appear for most of the day. The ALK Group Guild also issued a statement saying that players can continue to come to this violent area to level up. The female priest team that was just killed wanted to take advantage of the fact that no one came here to level up a while ago, so they wanted to come here to quickly kill monsters and pick up some bargains. As a result, they never expected this fishhead brother is back again. The news that the epic boss, the fisherman, had returned to the area around the ruins of Fushan quickly spread. It caused panic among countless people. Although the boss itself had a restricted area of action and could only move within the range of the dead forest, it could throw the bait to a very far place and then fish the player over. The maximum distance was 100 kilometers. If this boss still existed, it would mean that there was a full area of nearly 10,000 square kilometers around the ruins of Fushan, which was equivalent to a forbidden zone. Very good. There is another bait. Brother Fishhead came to the corpse of the female priest of the Great Cold Country. He was about to stretch out his palm and make her corpse and life into bait. Suddenly, the face on his fish head changed slightly. In the hole, the man quickly retreated several dozen meters away. The next moment, he saw a series of moonlight falling from the sky. Landing on the path he was retreating, a noble lady in a moon-white robe with cold eyes came with the moonlight. It was the Moon Queen Virginie. Before Brother Fishhead could react, Virginie raised her hand, and a series of moonlight blades poured towards Brother Fishhead. Who are you? Brother Fishhead was shocked. He looked at the mark on Virginie's head. Moon LV7. Level 57 player. Or NPC. Brother Fishhead was confused. He clearly felt the murderous intent contained in the series of Moonlight Blades, but he was an epic boss after all. How could he just run away like that? Too naive. Fishhead brother Alamuda snorted coldly and swung the fishing rod in his hand, condensing a wall of water. Those water walls can block all projectiles. But what it didn't expect was the Moonlight Blades of Virginie, with the maximum penetration attribute, actually went straight through those water walls. Fishhead brother had no time to react and was hit by dozens of Moonlight Blades in succession. Each Moonlight Blade caused hundreds of thousands of damage to it, and superimposed hundreds of whispering affixes. This shocked it. I can't beat it. Run away. Fishhead brother was about to cry, and he turned around and ran away, complaining in his heart, this civilization is too terrible. There is a person who can speak the ancient god language in Daxia. How can there be a level 57 woman in this Dahan country? Let's go back to Daxia country first. Although there is the ancient god language, it may not be as strong as this woman. It ran away quickly. Virginie was not in a hurry, chasing after him. Moonlight Blades fell on Fishhead from time to time, reducing his health and increasing his mumbling gauge. And this scene was soon discovered by someone from the sky. A player from the Great Cold riding a griffin was a hidden profession. The Griffin Knight. He was scouting in the sky. As a result, he found that an epic boss was being chased by a level 57 NPC and was immediately shocked. At the same time, when Fishhead gave up the body of the female priest was resurrected at the resurrection point in the hiding place 3 seconds later. I'm still alive. This female priest from the Great Cold was codenamed Bobo. She stood up from the resurrection point and was immediately confused, because she knew that her non-tradable life was gone. Although she still had more than 10 years of tradable life, if she died in the hands of the fisherman, all of this life would be sucked away. It's amazing. There's a beautiful NPC named Yue who is chasing the fisherman. I am Bobo, a priest of the final guild. I was just killed by the fisherman, but I was resurrected. It turned out that the NPC saved me. Also, I want to accuse Li Binchuan. He is my boyfriend, but he is a scumbag. He actually watched me being killed by the fisherman. Griffin Knight Radio brings you the latest news. The fisherman was being chased and his health was very low. He has escaped back to reality through the cracks. In the ruins of Fushan, a lot of news about Virginie spread like mushrooms after rain. And the code name above her head is no longer Queen of the Moon Virginie, but was changed by Qinfeng to one word, Yue. In the eyes of the players of the Great Cold Country, this powerful NPC like a queen is like a savior. She actually killed the epic boss and made him piss and run away. And the female priest, Bobo, of the final guild has become a loyal fan of Virginie. This is the task Qinfeng gave to Virginie. The Great Cold Kingdom does not need to know who Virginie is. It only needs to know she is the queen. First, by beating the epic boss, gain the trust of the players of the Great Cold Kingdom. Then, Virginie will rely on her terrifying strength that completely crushes the current players' base to become the master of the entire Great Cold Kingdom area and bring Qinfeng a steady stream of life. The reason why she has to hide her identity, of course, it is to better harvest life. Otherwise, if the people of the Great Cold Kingdom knew that Virginie was Qinfeng's person, would they still be willing to pay for their lives? And in the current situation, Virginie can completely engage in personal worship in the Great Cold Kingdom and become a national idol. Let the players of the Great Cold Kingdom willingly pay a lot of life. When the people of the Great Cold Kingdom find out the truth in the end, will they cry? Hanfeng doesn't know. But he knew that by that time, Virginie would have completely controlled the entire Great Cold Kingdom. Terrible. Too terrible. The fisherman, Alamuda, the epic boss holding a fishing rod, fled in a hurry. When passing through the crack, he returned to reality again. That is, outside the Great Xia Ice City, in the county town. When it just passed through the ruins, it saw that in front of it, there was a strange figure who looked like an assassin, but it didn't seem to be a player. Is it a puppet? Brother Fishhead was a little confused. In the distance, the official players of the Ice City who were responsible for reconnaissance were all nervous. The epic boss is back again. Everyone is alert. Be ready to assist Shadow's puppet at any time. Long-range firepower is ready to support. But when the official players were mobilized nervously one by one, suddenly, Qinfeng's puppet disappeared. That was naturally because he was invisible directly. The next moment, the epic boss that just rushed out of the crack had bloodlight blooming in many places, since it was in reality. I didn't know how much blood it lost, but from the white holy light covering it, it seemed to have entered the invincible bloodlock stage. However, before the fishing fisherman could react, the dark nightmare energy on its body burst out, instantly putting it into a nightmare state. Qinfeng's puppet could not copy the immortal level skills for the time being, so there was no effect of the source of the upper level. The killing method of this puppet still remained in Qinfeng's previous version, making the target fall into a nightmare state, and then killing it in one wave, even if it is an epic boss. The damage is definitely enough to kill it instantly. So, just when the official players of Bingcheng were nervously trying to help, they were shocked to find that the epic boss had only been out of the crack for less than a second. Player Shadow Daxia killed the epic boss Angler Alamuda and received 100 reputation points. The reminder of killing the epic boss sounded in the minds of everyone in the world. The official players of the Ice City nearby were completely dumbfounded. No? Who just said to support Shadow's puppet? Why are you looking at me? It must not be me who said that. Oh my god. It was killed as soon as it showed its head. Too fierce? Is it really just a puppet? A puppet killed the epic boss in seconds. This is too awesome. It's worthy of Shadow. Oh, man. I didn't expect you to think so highly of me. What? I said Shadow, what about Shadow? What does it have to do with you? Yesterday you said I played like a hook 8, and now you say Shadow played awesome. They are the same part, so the meaning is similar. UTM. Get out. What these Ice City official players didn't expect was they watched for a long time, seeing that the body of the fisherman Alamuda disappeared quickly, but the equipment and skill books that were exploded were still in place. They were a little confused. Could it be that Shadow didn't want these equipment and skill books, but soon they received instructions from above? The equipment dropped by the boss was left by Shadow on purpose. This epic boss killed more than 40 people in our Ice City. Shadow said that these equipment were left for their families. As soon as these words came out, all the Ice City officials present were silent. Originally, their worship of Shadow was the simplest admiration for the strong. They had never come into contact with Shadow. They didn't understand Shadow even more. But now, they felt the warmth of Shadow. You know, that's an epic boss. Even Shadow, from beginning to end, only killed 5, starting from the Great Disaster Hades, to the Unclean Leader Big Octopus, the Snake Girl Samia, the Nine Realm Stone Governor. Next is this fishing fisherman. Epic boss. The equipment and skill books drop. How precious are they? In their opinion, even for Shadow, the value of these things is definitely not low. It was left to the victim's family like this. For a moment, these people were moved to tears. Everyone salute. The captain stood up and led the 10 scouts behind him, facing south, and saluted in unison. Achoo! Hienfeng suddenly sneezed. A little confused? Who thinks of me like this? He was using the Hand of Greed on the corpse of the angler in the hiding place in the pure soul land. Although they were far apart, his puppets could be summoned to his side at any time, and he could bring the corpse back directly by letting the puppets carry the corpse of the boss. As for leaving the things dropped by the boss to the victims' families, there are 2 reasons. First, the plan of the Great Cold Country and North America this time was mainly aimed at Qinfeng. From this point of view, the more than 40 dead people in Ice City did die because of him. Second, the main gain of Qinfeng's killing the boss himself did not come from the boss's drops, but from the Hand of Greed for Qinfeng. The things dropped by the boss were nothing at all. So, when Qinfeng finished dealing with Brother Fishhead's corpse, he had a bunch of legendary and epic equipment on him, in addition to the gift that the mechanical cube just sent. It's time for Sister Yuan to change clothes again. Half an hour later, Qinfeng came out of the fairy room. Refreshed. On the one hand, the baptism again increased the resistance to lightning elements. On the other hand, Qinfeng strengthened 2 special effects this time, and the effect was pretty good. First, the special effect of the legendary ring Elemental Burst Power. You strengthened the special effect of Elemental Burst Power. Burst! Strengthened effect. Your attack casting speed with elemental damage increased by 72%, arrive 118%, strengthening range 100%, 120%. The release speed is further improved. The number of shadow blades that Qinfeng can throw out per second has increased by 2, and the effect is quite good. Although the strengthening effect is not full, it is only 2% short, which is acceptable. If it is really full, the equipment fragments required are simply huge. Qinfeng will not deduct such a small attribute. Then there is the strengthening of the speed of sound shoes. Originally, the special effect of this pair of shoes, Move, is to gain up to 5 levels of stealth and 50 points of all level resistance when moving. You have enhanced the special effect of Power Clown Sonic Shoes, Move, enhancement effect. Reduce the current level gauge by 1, 7% per second when moving, enhancement range 1, 2% 1, 8%. This effect was something Qinfeng never expected. Although for Qinfeng, the effect is just like that. After all, he has the ability to reduce the level gauge by 15% per second. But this kind of attribute is extremely rare. In the later stages, many players actually have high damage, and there are many who have 1,000,000 damage per second. But the ability to resist the higher level of fixes limits their performance. As long as they get one such attribute, they can be promoted from the epic boss beater group to the legendary boss beater group. So far, most of the special effects of Qinfeng's equipment have been enhanced. Let his overall combat power be further enhanced. Then, he contacted Tian Jixing, and the young alchemist's potions had been refined. Master, these are 120 bottles of potions. A total of 12 types, 10 bottles of each. Can you fit them? The young Tian Jixing was very worried. After all, the storage capacity of ordinary players is only a few dozen grids. These 120 bottles of potions cannot overlap and must occupy 120 grids of space. As a result, under the shocked eyes of the young Tian Jixing, Qinfeng raised his hand and took away all the potions. Greedy space. That's so willful. The equipment has been upgraded and the potions are in hand. Han Feng plans to go to the Abyss Road. Before leaving, he paid a little attention to Qin Xiaoyu in the Judgment Land. The memory fusion has reached 80%. It seems that when I finish the Abyss Road, her memory will be completely integrated and can be judged. Han Feng teleported to the gate of the Abyss through the teleportation array. When he finished teleporting and opened his eyes, in front of him appeared a black vortex-like gate. With many stone tablets around the vortex, everyone looking at the stone tablets could see different contents. That was the global ranking of the players in the Abyss Road. Han Feng was very familiar with this scene. After all, he had been here dozens of times in his previous life. A few years later, this place was overcrowded. All kinds of people selling buff medicine, and equipment adapted to specific levels. But now, I'm the only one here. In front of the black vortex gate was an ancient stone square with no edge in sight. Players can set up stalls, communicate, etc. Here, Han Feng teleported here alone, and the square seemed very empty. When he went to the vortex gate, stretched out his hand, and touched the black mist on the gate, an unexpected system prompt came over. Based on your comprehensive evaluation of combat power, you can choose to enter Road to the Abyss. Your challenge results will be included in the ranking of this civilization. Road to Despair, monster attributes at 100. Your challenge results will be included in the ranking of all civilizations within 100 years. Check the MM. Road to the End monster attributes X1000. Your challenge results will be included in the ranking of all civilizations, all time and space. Once you die, your challenge results will be cancelled and you will lose the qualification for subsequent challenges. Extremely difficult. Please choose carefully. Han Feng was stunned. Road to Despair. Road to the End. What the hell is this? I've never heard of it before. Interesting. I thought I was here to bully others. There will be a higher difficulty waiting for me. If the difficulty is higher, the reward will definitely be higher, right? Qin Feng suddenly became excited. Just as Qin Feng went to the gate of the Abyss, Qin Xiaoyu in the Land of Judgment. The memories of the two lives finally merged to the key point. That is, when she gave Qin Feng the water of wandering souls and made him fall asleep. In the memory, she stood in front of the unconscious Qin Feng, her eyes full of indifference. From childhood to adulthood, you only know how to control me, and control me I feel suffocated every day. I have never felt free for a moment. As long as I get your ancient god eyeball, Brother Songfei will be stronger than you. You can't stop us from being together. With excitement, she walked forward and stretched out her hand. She dug out Qin Feng's eyeballs with her own hands. She held the eyeballs, completely ignoring the bleeding Qin Feng, and turned away excitedly. Don't worry. Brother Songfei said that he would find new eyes for you, as long as you don't stop us from being together. Here is the hiding place of the Pure Soul Land extracted from reality. It is also the headquarters of the God-Slaying Guild. Originally, Qin Xiaoyu felt like she was dreaming, and this scene did not have much impact on her. But at this moment, when the real memory merged into her mind, for her, it was like she had truly experienced this scene, and her emotions have fluctuated with the content of the memory. Before the memory merged to the present, she had been feeling the oppression and control of Qin Feng. The experience of the previous life made her feel the same. Therefore, she now also has a sense of release. Next, Brother Songfei and I can be together. But, not long after she took Qin Feng's eyeball and left the Pure Soul Land, suddenly, a system prompt sounded in her mind. The president of your guild has died. Bah. The position of the president of the guild is automatically transferred to the executive vice president, Shuichen. Qin Xiaoyu was stunned when she heard the system prompt. Qin Feng is dead. Originally, this scene did not exist in her vague memory. She originally thought that she only dug out Qin Feng's eyes. But unexpectedly, Qin Feng actually died. Died after having his eyes dug out. Did he kill himself? Isn't this too fragile? Qin Xiaoyu couldn't help thinking. And when this system prompt came out, all the members of the God-Slaying Guild in the Pure Soul Land were mobilized. Brother Feng! Gu Yishu heard the system prompt and automatically became the president of the God-Slaying Guild. But she didn't care about the president at all. Instead, she came to the door of Qin Feng's room in a hurry. Behind her followed other players of the God-Slaying Guild. Each one was indignant. What's going on? The president was assassinated. What a joke. With the strength of our president, who can kill him quietly. That's right. Our defensive barrier didn't move. There might be a spy. Immediately ban everyone from going out. Very quickly, Gu Yishu opened the operation panel of the guild's hideout. She, who had just obtained the authority of the president, opened the door of Qin Feng's room. The scene that came into her eyes made her eyes red instantly. Cathead, who was here just now, her face became extremely cold, and the priest robe on her body was surrounded by the extremely cold order of ice and snow. A snow-white and slender owl flew from behind. Qin Xiaoyu. Qin Xiaoyu. At this time, Qin Xiaoyu had already left the Pure Soul Land. She was wearing a snow-white priest robe and holding a round crystal ball in her hand, which was showing the situation in Qin Feng's room. This bitch again. When Qin Xiaoyu saw Gu Yishui, her eyes were full of disgust. I just dug out Qin Feng's eyes. What does his death have to do with me? It's okay. Just give the eyeballs to Brother Song Fei. She was riding the swan mount that Qin Feng bought for her at a high price, and was flying quickly in the sky. This is the diamond level mount that she bought with more than 4,000 years of life. It is also one of the most beautiful mounts in the godforsaken game. She passed through a nightmare area with a life flow rate of 10,000 times, and a depleted area with a life flow rate of 100,000 times, in order to see Song Fei as soon as possible. She ignored her fast-flowing life, and these lifespans were all pocket money Qin Feng gave her before he died. Brother Song Fei, I'm here. Qin Xiaoyu held a pair of eyeballs and came to Song Fei's hiding place, Paradise. This is a hiding place built by the Song Fei Guild. The exaggerated shape and the atmosphere of feasting and drinking make this place a paradise for many young people to play. When Qin Xiaoyu arrived, many players looked at her meaningfully, but they still led her and welcomed her into the hall. After just 2.5 minutes, bang! Qin Xiaoyu, who was wearing a white priest robe, was kicked out of the hall under Qin Xiaoyu's unbelievable look. There was a gorgeously dressed woman who walked up to her with a proud and disdainful look, stepping on her face with high heels. What the hell? Do you really think Song Fei likes you? Okay, now you are useless. Get out, by the way. Your swan is good. I'll take it away. The woman held a long sword in her hand, raised her hand and slashed it, cutting off Qin Xiaoyu's wrist. In the intense pain, Qin Xiaoyu watched helplessly as the woman picked up her broken wrist and forcibly took away the swan mount bell on her wrist. Fortunately, it's a diamond mount. If it was epic, I wouldn't be able to get it even if my soul is bound to it. The woman smiled disdainfully. What a pity. You are a waste. How can a waste get an epic mount? When Qin Xiaoyu's memory merged here, she completely collapsed. No, this is impossible. Brother Song Fei would not treat me like this. I got the ancient god's eyeball for Brother Song Fei, and I am the one that brother loves the most. 3. 1,000 words long chapter. Please give me some power for love. Balls!